really nice to see you. Charlotte, Shannon, hello, good to see you. Audrey, great to see you. I know we have quite a few other organizers that I'm not quite seeing in our scroll feed. Oh, Saba, great to see you. So welcome, welcome. So for those of you just joining, would love if you could write in the chat, since we have a big group, we won't all get to hear each other live, but please write in the chat where you're calling in from. So what city or tiny town are you calling in from? Would love to see that, because I think we have quite a global group. And so just briefly, today is a celebration of Due Day 2020. We'll get to hear more from Florian and Catherine, the Due School's founders, about the vision for Due Day. But this really is about all of the action that so many of you took to emerge stronger from the multiple challenges that we are facing as global citizens. So thank you. Really looking forward to hearing more about your Due Day events and celebrating you all. And just to give you a sense of what we'll do in our time together, we'll get to hear some opening words from Florian and Catherine. We'll get to hear from Julia, who project managed Due Day behind the scenes, the superpower behind it all. And then we'll get to hear from several of our Due Day organizers who are joining to share about their topics and some of the ideas that came out of their Due Day. And then we'll wrap with a moment of reflection all together. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Florian and Catherine, I will hand it over to you if you want to share more about the vision behind Due Day and what October 18th and Due Day is all about. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Eva.
Hi, everybody. It's so wonderful to be with you. It's been amazing to see what was happening on Sunday, this year's Due Day. And I think what Catherine and I briefly want to do, and maybe I get us started, is just to briefly reflect again on why we're celebrating Due Day, and then hear from you afterwards, which is much more exciting than hearing from us, in how you've been interpreting it, and obviously now, you know, with everything that's going on, how we should drive it forward. So as all of you know, as you being instigators, collaborators, alligators, is that Due Day was launched because we felt that the Due School's mission of empowering great purposeful doers all around the world to take action locally and regionally and globally needed a day of celebration, because this is bigger than just the Due School, right? This idea that we don't live in a world where shit just happens to us, but we live in a world that is really complicated and complex and difficult, but we have agency and we can take action, and that's something to celebrate. That is something that I think unites a whole lot of many people all around the globe. And Due Day was therefore launched as the first International Day of Doing. The incredible Due School team, and you see some of the colleagues that have been really the leaders this year, but also throughout the last 2 years have done an incredible job in just getting local organizers involved. And I think we grew dramatically from year 1 to year 2, and it was obvious that year 3 was going to be different, right?
Yep, year 3 was going to be different because obviously the whole year is different from what we know before. I just read again from some historian out of the science field saying that this year is really, it's going to leave a mark like nothing like that has really happened before. And it's so just to reiterate the immense impact we're really talking about that Corona has kind of started, and obviously all of us have felt and experienced in so many different ways, and also what it's doing now, right? And I think we didn't want to lose the spirit of Do Day, actually the opposite. So Do Day this year was also part of the We Emerge movement that we've launched. And I know that Do Day expanded a little bit beyond just one day as well. But we really felt that Do Day, We Emerge, and everything around it was actually more important than ever because of the impacts of COVID that have highlighted everything from health, economic, societal, but also environmental issues. And so we're super excited that we could turn it into a virtual event. So again, of course, it was different than what was happening the years before, when we really had very local events happening in different places around the world. And actually, some of the organizers have already organized Do Days the last 2 years. So it will be exciting to also hear from you how you experienced the change. But I think the spirit is the same, and the fact that we're all doing so much more virtually these days than a couple of months ago is also just the new reality. And so I think it was a logical next step to have virtual Do Days happening. And as Florian said, really this is about you guys, this whole celebration. You made the virtual Do Day count, and so we're super excited to hear from you. And I know Julia, who was project managing, organizing, and helping all along, is going to share some thoughts from her side as well. So.
And before we hand over, maybe to let us close with 2 points and a question. So the 2 points are, obviously, we didn't push for this year's Do Day to be as big as last in terms of numbers, or how we think it needs to grow in the future, because we felt that wasn't the point. The point this year was not to get a lot of heads in front of a lot of Zoom calls, because to talk about what should be done and right now can't. But the goal was to say, how can we keep the core of the movement going and learn what needs to be done next, right? As Catherine said, so Gates put up the numbers behind it. So in 25 weeks, we killed basically 25 years of human progress. When you look at all key performance indicator, from child mortality rates to hunger to access to medical care and whatnot. So we're back in the 90s. We don't look it in terms of our styles, but we are. And so what the question is coming out of this is, awesome that we did Do Day, but also in relationship to the Do X hubs, right? And the thinking of local action. What is it that you guys feel we should be driving forward? And over the next year, what kind of local action should take place? That, I think, is the question that Catherine and I would like to throw into the mix. And thanks again for the effort on the weekend.
Thank you so much. I will keep it very, very brief because I want to really get to the organizers. And so my first message is thank you for all the Do Day organizers. Thanks for organizing a Do Day on the weekend, for bringing your communities together. I had the pleasure to join a few Do Days and just see how diverse the participants were, but also the topics. And it's always so inspiring to see you work on the topics that are most pressing to your heart or to your communities. So yeah, big thank you. And I'm super excited to hear about all your challenges, but also the solutions that you've come up with.
Thank you so much, Julia. And thank you. So I know today will be a day of shout outs to everyone, because Do Day really is a global lifting up. And it takes a lot of sweat and time and care and vision and questioning and Zooming and Google meetings. So let's keep the shout outs going. One more shout out just on the note of what Julia shared. I also want to give a shout out to both Julia and Francie who are on the Do Day team. I know you as organizers heard a lot from us and I hope felt supported. We just admire you so much. So thank you. To our team who are collectively standing behind you. And now would love to turn it over to you as organizers. So I know we have quite a few organizers on the call. gosh, representing probably most time zones in the world. So thank you for staying up or waking up. And what we'll do is this will just be an open round. So this will be a sharing circle for each of the organizers to share 3 things. And we'll aim for about 3 minutes each, although if you are burning to share more, don't worry, we have some flexibility. So to share what your topic was. So what was the challenge that you put out to your community? What were a couple of the ideas or a solution that came out of your due day, since this is about taking action and doing? And then also, is there another highlight that you want to share? So something that will stick with you, something that really made you think, something that that gave you hope. I think that is an ingredient that we all need more of in these times. So I will stop talking for quite a while, hopefully, and we'll turn it over to due day organizers. I'll call out those of you who I can see and know on the call, but if I miss anyone, feel free to jump in. Also, as Julia kindly mentioned, I know there are quite a few people joining again from all over the world, so we're live streaming this right now. And I hope that more of your due day participants who could not be on this Zoom call are also able to join on live stream. So to those of you out watching, thank you. Yeah, let's keep the spirit of how we emerge stronger alive. Would love to hand it over first to Audrey. So in honor of alphabetical order and knowing that it's very, I believe, late at your night, in the Philippines, Audrey, would love to hear. I know you are not only a due day organizer for multiple years, but also one of our DUX Hub founders. So would love to turn it over to you first. What was your topic? What did you focus on?
Okay, thank you so much for making me lucky number 1. So our topic for the Manila Due Day was promotion of mental health through an emotional awareness strategy. And this was really put out by our community manager, who's also here in the call, Finella. And really, I think this is one of the biggest issues that are plaguing everybody, especially through shifting through Zoom calls such as this one. So what we did was we started it with a emotional awareness workshop, because this is something that has quite a low awareness. That's why it's that's the topic that we chose, and a lot of our participants weren't even aware of the different types of issues with emotional awareness. Penela can talk about some things that we've reached during the event.
Some things that we reached.
Oh, I mean our reach. Our reach.
Yes. So we had 95 signups and there were 50 Zoom attendees just in the Zoom. But the Facebook Live, so we had it in Zoom and also Facebook Live. The Facebook Live reached 3,900 people with 729 engagements, 92 comments, and 50 reactions. So a lot of people really felt the need for this kind of event. So because it showed up on their timeline and they also came and signed up.
Thanks. And I think one of the biggest solutions that came up was the video-less event format that we did. So right now we're all in a video call and our videos are on. But one of the things that we really piloted with the event was trying to take out the Zoom fatigue, which is one of the biggest issues that we're actually facing. I mean, I'm glad that all of you are having your videos on, but it does take an emotional toll, or like even a mental toll, on a lot of people. So we experimented with this format where we talk about a very hard topic, facing your emotions. But we did it in a relaxed way where all of the participants were told to have their videos off So they didn't have the guilt of having to like turn off their video or not feel like they're not participating, because we kind of leveled the situation where only the speakers are talking. And actually, we've gotten feedback from that before the the workshop itself. We already had the solution um, discussion with our community before that, and how they thought about the video-less format for the video, and it turned out really really well. And I think one of the biggest highlights for us in the event was how much more engagement we got with both the videoless format and the online format, because last year we also did a do day event, and and we've also done physical events as well with our company before, but now we were able to reach so much more people as long as we knew how to leverage the technology. Like, we've never had an event where there's like 50 plus people engaging in the discussion at the same time without having to wait for their moment to share, because we were utilizing the chat box. And we had like, there were feedback where there were a lot of lurkers who felt that they had like a safe space to engage with us. So I think that's an amazing highlight and discovery we've had with our event.
Wow, thank you so much, Audrey and Fenella. I also really appreciate that we're hearing from you first, just to bring the conversation to that level of, in a time of so much anxiety and stress and being on, how do we take care of ourselves in such a fundamental way? So I just love that you both brought that in. Incredible to hear about, yeah, just thousands of people engaging in that topic. So I hope that can spread far beyond the Philippines. I know I feel like I could learn from that, and we could certainly learn from that. So yeah, bravo! Thank you so much. I'm mindful of time, so let's keep the flow going. And I think we can be, aim for around 3 minutes, but of course, let's be flexible, because we do have the time to really be with each other. So would love next to turn it over to, and I'll just go kind of in order of who I see on the screen. So this is very organic order. Charlotte, would you like to share about your due day around B Corp? Yeah, I'd love to hear your topic and ideas and any highlights.
Yeah, I will also keep it short because I want to hear about everybody else's, and I'm like, oh, I wish I could have joined in everything. But yeah, so I joined for the first time, and I spoke about B Corps because I feel I've been following the We Emerge kind of initiative from you guys, and I feel that B Corps really do have a place in the world as companies with a mentality that says, right, what we've been doing in the way of capitalism so far has got us far, but we need to rethink this. We need to focus on really all of the people and the areas, environments that we're touching with our business. So that's what B Corps are about. And I thought, right, that is the perfect connection. And I did some online, one online session. I'm actually doing another one on Friday. And I also then had a hike on Sunday, which was wonderful. And what I just realized is that there definitely there needs to be more awareness about B Corps because they're not very well known so far. So people showed that interest, and it kind of motivated me to carry on spreading the news, I guess, about them. And what I really noticed from the hike, Corona is causing difficulties, and I was a bit nervous about, do we meet in person? How do I handle this? There was a lot of interest, and I think some people then, a couple who said, right, okay, maybe the group will be too big, I won't come. But I realized there's such a need to connect. And I think this is where my kind of hat comes off to you at the Do School, because I think you've given this platform to connect, and that is so, so important at any time, but particularly now. And I think, it's just, the whole week was brilliant. So well done to you all. I felt a bit like a a do school groupie. I was popping up in all of these sessions, and then I was on social media and everything. But no, I really, really respect what you guys are doing. And the last thing I would say is just a challenge that is actually really, really positive for me is kind of latching on and going with this and using the momentum that you have provided really pushed me to go out of my comfort zone to do these things. I was completely nervous about doing like the first webinar session open to the public that I have done, but I did it, and it was a really good experience from my side. So thank you for all of that.
Wow, Charlotte, thank you so much for being an example of stretching yourself in order to bring your purpose forward. That is something that just inspires me so much about each of you who organize the Do Day event, each of you who are DoX Hub founders. Yeah, you embody that. So really happy to hear that this could be a nudge, a nudge to push beyond the comfort zone and do something that matters so much to you and your community. Then lovely, I think we'll go over next. I see Mamta. So Mamta, really nice to have you. I know this was your first Do Day, and you just brought in such vision around sustainability in business. So would love to hear from you. Yeah, what was your topic? What were the ideas that came out, and any highlight you want to share?
Sorry, Eva, while you were talking, I got a call which I had to decline. Can you say again that? What were you saying about me?
No,
I'm sorry to make you repeat.
Raving about you. So I know that this was your first Do Day, and that you brought in a topic related to sustainability in business, which is something, of course, that so many people are looking at, of how we emerge stronger, like how can we shift our practices as people and as business creators. So yeah, if you could share the topic that you focused on, a couple ideas that came out of it, and then just any other highlight that you'd want to share.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So, yeah, this Do Day was a challenge for me too. Yes, I had gone out of a lot of my comfort zone, like on many fronts. Like, I never switch on my camera whenever I attend a Zoominar or a webinar, never do that. So, first block was that, which I gotten over, and thanks to Do Day. And there were more. Like, as soon as my topic was, what can the youth do to stitch the climate change with respect to clothing? That was my topic, but I deliberately removed that clause of with respect to clothing, and wanted to bring the drive the topic, give an indication by adding the word like stitch there, because I had thought over about the topic also a lot of times. As I said, 2 years back, I had, as part of my social enterprise, I had this offering of bringing back DIY-ness in India. Like, I see a lot of clothing waste going around in India, and currently, people, the millennials, are not taking care of the clothing waste. They're not even mindful of the clothing waste they are generating. And when I started this, I had no idea. I come from the technology world. I had no idea that that falls in sustainable fashion also, that it falls in social enterprise also. I had no idea, absolutely, because I was zero on business and zero on this social enterprising thing altogether. So after 2 years, it was like that. I was not able to market it well. I had no idea what was going wrong there. So when I asked you people, when I got to know about this Do Day thing, I was very excited about it. Like, oh my God, what is this? This is like because I participate in hackathons. So I thought over like this is kind of a do-a-thon, and where you crowdsource and brainstorm people, call people, try to find out solutions. So I already had a burning problem with in my kitty, like, why isn't the youth really mindful of the waste they are generating, was my prime problem. And why not the other people are able to understand that we need to repair our clothes, at least we need not become tailors, but at least repair our clothes is the need of the hour, and bring back DIY-ness that Indian ethos talks about, which is inherently sustainable. So, so that was the problem. And glad, Eva, you told me like I take a topic that helps my business also. So when I was about to make, how do I design this challenge? Who do I call these people? What kind of people will I target and all? So I kept it open, because when we target youth, what can you do as a, it's like a challenge for action for youth to take over. But then I need to bring in people who are like 12 plus, about to be youth. And I also need to bring in people the youth are connected to, like parents, grandparents. So I had some informal interviews among my family itself. My daughter, 22-year-old, she said, nobody is going to come to your challenge if you say that youth should stop buying clothes, right? So I had almost 1 to 2 hours of discussion 2 days before with her, and then I managed to get her roped in. She was one of the participants in the session also. So I
You know
got her
what?
perspective.
I was curious about that exactly, Mamta, because you had such a diverse group of people together, just in
Yeah,
terms of
yeah,
age and where they were coming from and all of that. So
yeah.
yeah, what came out of it? Like, what were a couple of the ideas?
Yeah, because I like parents said like they buy a lot, they gift a lot to the kids. See, a youth is, it's not the youth who is responsible to generate clothing waste. Parents buy more clothes for their kids, sometimes without even like without their dislikes and with dislikes, with likes, whatever. Like say I gift my daughter a clothing that of my choice, and she doesn't wear, so this is the way it's getting hoarded or kept. So these were the practical things I was looking at. And so these were the things that came out of the problem understanding. So as soon as this due date got over, I was very like, oh, I did not finish all the tools at all. We only managed to finish the system maps. And but then when I did an introspect and retrospect of that, there were a lot of positive outcomes. One was we took a lot of time in understanding the problem itself. I took almost 1 hour, and I had so many perspectives coming out of the participants. And and my due day hasn't gotten over yet. It's continuing. It's good. We are, and the 11 although I had 45 signups, 15 to 16 people turned up, and 12 people stuck on till the end, and without any breaks. And I had an overshoot of half an hour also. And Shilpa I saw Shilpa, one of the participants, has joined this do day also. I would ask Shilpa to give her views too. And so I have a community of, when I signed up for this challenge, I told I don't have a community. Who do I bring for this my do day? Who will sign up for my do day? So Julia said, the people who believe in your idea are are your community. So that was what, okay, let me do this. Let me try this. I don't know what is going to come out of it. I don't know what comes up. But then now I have, the participants asked me to continue as a community. So I'm working on that.
Wow.
And we got the solution as awareness is one biggest blocker. And also, as I had offline talks with 3 participants who did not speak up, contribute much during the event, they called me on WhatsApp and we had a discussion after the due day. So it's continuing, is what, as I say.
It's
They had
bubbling,
given,
yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
I got people thinking on this problem. And one more solution that I got was, there are no systems to collect the waste. So collection drives is another thing. And my daughter herself, she said, why not a collection drive in colleges? She came out of college after about a year back. So that gave me a lot of ideas now. So I'm putting up my model now. Since I am already into reducing the clothing waste kind of social enterprise, I'm about to make it, plan it well. So I am going to add
wow.
all these
Oh,
offerings.
that's great.
I'm
Oh,
going to add all these offerings as a solution to this.
yeah.
And currently, it's me, a single woman army, working on my social enterprise. I have got a lot of offerings now. I'm going to pitch really hard with my brand new business plan to all the social innovators and incubation centers across India. And yeah, that's about it. I think I should stop with this. I've spoken a lot.
I know.
And we are going
Sorry,
to,
I hate to cut you off. It sounds like there's so much that came. Also, I just appreciate that point too. When we go deeply into the interconnected problems of something like waste from the fashion industry, there's so much there that can be tackled. So really, really happy to hear that also just created a community, you know, and that you're already seeing the evidence of that growing. So, and Shilpa, you were part of the due date. I think just for the sake of time, because we have quite a few more organizers to hear from, maybe let's keep hearing from more organizers. And then if we have some time at the end, I would love to hear from you, Shilpa, or any other due date participants on the call too, just anything that you would add in terms of highlights and takeaways. But yeah, congratulations again. So nice to hear, you know, first time due date organizers, multiple time due date organizers.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot to the Do School platform, and this Do Day is really a good initiative. I would like to thank Florian and Catherine, Eva, you and Julia to extend me all kind of support that I required. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. It's an honor. That actually is a very good segue. So Shannon, I want to hand it over to you. And I know your due day was special because Shannon Aziz and Christian L and Olaf Ekman actually co-hosted a due day. And I know that Christian L was actually one of the visionaries behind Due Day, along with Florian and Catherine and the Do School team. So Shannon, would love to hear your topic, the idea that came out of it, the solutions that came out of it, and any other highlight you would want to share too.
Great, thank you. I'll start with the highlight. I think that's a nice one to start with. For us, this is about our third or fourth due day that we've taken part in. And actually the online portion of this really allowed us to make this actually our most international due day. So previously our due days were based in Munich and in Germany. And this was the first year where we had people from literally all over the world, from Egypt, Uganda, Canada. So that was really a highlight for us, that it wasn't just sort of in a German and inside a local context, but it was truly a global context, which is great when you can use the internet to do that. So yeah, on our due day, we focused on a topic that's really at the heart of both climate change and the coronavirus pandemic, and that's the challenge of human behavior. So we were really asking the question of how do we change our habits and behaviors for a sustainable future? So how do we really get people to do that? And we had a panel of experts, including Olaf, who is a habit expert, and also projects from Make the Planet Great Again community and the Do School community, who were able to talk about their projects and relate it to this concept of human behavior and how it impacts them and their projects. And because this event is all about doing, I'll get into our solution. So the solution that we developed in the workshop portion of our session was what we call a mass sustainability habit experiment. And essentially what we thought that would be was, if you imagine if everyone in the world took one small action for sustainability every day and then challenged others to do the same. So whether it's using a reusable bottle or walking to work or turning off your computer, but you can inspire and empower people towards sustainable lifestyles through this power and science that is behind daily habits. So what we wanted to launch, and we're going to launch, we are doing it, is this 1 month challenge of small doable behavior changes for people to become more environmentally and socially responsible. So in our workshop, we developed with participants, how do we actually bring that idea to life? And we developed this concept of having a behavior change campaign with a cool slogan like Start With You or Climate Changers, and then also building a sort of habit platform, whether it's a website or something, but something that would gamify that. And the idea behind it really is that individual behavior change can inspire the masses, and that change really comes from within. So you can choose from a variety of habits, or you could create your own, for example, avoid packaging, eat locally. But for 1 month, we could inspire this sort of movement in the same way that you have things like Movember or Dry January, and through getting other people to challenge others, really start this on a global scale, which is what our hope is. So our kind of next steps and ideas now is that we're trying to test this on and pilot it from a smaller group of individuals. So anyone here who'd like to take part, you're more than welcome to. And over the next few weeks, we're going to try and develop the concept further and see what we can come up with on a campaign level, and whether we could maybe even partner with certain habit trackers and websites that exist and so on. Yeah, so that's the gist of it. Because we really do want everyone a part of the Do School to be involved, we have created like a presentation that kind of summarizes our Do Day and includes all of our contact details and so on. And I will post that into the Do community platform. And if you guys would like to take part in any way, or just keep up to date with the work that we are doing, you can do so through that. Our contact details will be included in that.
Thank you so much, Shannon. It's so fun to see the thumbs up and the claps, you know, and all of this, just hearing the resonance with each of you. And I also want to give a shout out. I got to join Shannon and Christian's Do Days, as well as Saba's Do Day, who you'll hear from in just a moment. But there's so much opportunity for cross-pollination. And Charlotte, I know I've always been so inspired by your Better Me Green blog. And mentioned that in the hackathon, in the Do Day. So feel free, I already see it in the chat. It's so wonderful to see you all connecting around this, but feel free to share resources, whatever could uplift each of your Do Days, and wherever there's synergy, would love to have this Do community platform support those connections. So awesome, looking forward, Shannon, to that presentation and how people can join. I will be part of that habit experiment. I'm looking forward to being more sustainable myself. Then maybe on that note, would love, Saba, if you want to speak up about your Do Day. Was such an honor to be part of it, talking with activists. And I know you had some very rich conversations, so would love to hear about your topic and what came out of that for you as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, Eva. I hope everyone can hear me. I'm actually at a very busy restaurant here because I wanted to make sure that I was here and that I had internet. So to quickly sum it all up, we had a very small, very intimate Do Day where we spoke to two activists. Both of them have been working on taboos in Pakistan, and the taboos often don't get spoken about pre-COVID, but during COVID, I think those particular communities had absolutely no chance of getting their voices heard. And however, regardless of how difficult the time was for them the last 6 months, they managed to emerge because of certain ideas or certain connections or certain communities that they were connected to. And these activists played a really key role in it. These communities were representing people from LGBTQIA communities, as well as specifically youth affected by HIV, and a lot of sex workers in Pakistan. And we wanted to ask them what kind of challenges they went through during this time in terms of employment, in terms of getting food rations, in terms of getting them to be able to survive during this time. And since these activists played a very key role, they spoke to us about emergency management, strategies that they had to use to reach those people, get them healthcare. And it was, I think Eva was there, and it was really, really heartbreaking to hear some of the things that they had to go through, and the mental health and the mental resilience that these activists had to display to make sure that their communities were able to survive it. And they had 3 or 4 key points that they shared, and that helped them personally to emerge stronger, but also for their communities to emerge stronger. So one of them was that they continuously kept in touch with people that they loved. And this was for activists as well. They started working together very closely. Small organizations partnered together very quickly. They kept checking which communities they were already serving or which they wanted to serve in the future at a later date. They started strategizing both for the short term, which is meeting the needs for the first week, but also thinking about if these lockdowns continue, how will they meet the needs of the communities in 3 months or 6 months, reaching out to new partners, reaching out to more funders, reaching out to the government so that they could have that support for the long run as well. Another thing that they felt that wasn't there during the first few weeks was that they did not have a very systematic approach when they started, and they said that nobody had trained these activists for emergency response. So this is something that they learned for the first time from the pandemic. These lessons and these insights, of course.
Saba, I think it might have cut out for a second. We'll pause. Hopefully the sound will come back. While we're pausing, feel free to breathe. We are all full bodies behind our Zoom screen, so this is a chance to breathe. All right, Saba, I think we might have lost you. So if you hear us and if you're able to reconnect to audio, please interrupt at any time, okay? I'll continue the conversation, but just interrupt at any time. Since I did get to join Saba's group, I think on that note that Saba was just making, that was such a takeaway in terms of how communities can come out stronger. And honestly, in the case of the communities that Saba was speaking with, so representing queer, transgender, and LGBTQI groups in Pakistan, it was simply a matter of surviving, let alone coming out stronger. So I think that note about being connected, about having centers that were trusted places, safe places for people to go and be heard and find access to food, get tips on healthcare. There were just very significant challenges, which I imagine quite a few of you know in your communities that show up in their own way. So again, Saba, if you're able to rejoin and interrupt, please interrupt at any time. But I hope I was able to continue that final point that Saba was making. So and also just appreciating in the chat too, thank you for chiming in, Shilpa. I know you can understand different taboo topics, also in the context in India with which you work. Shannon, really happy to see Rosa and you connecting. So lovely, keep the conversation, the connections going. Awesome. I think we have 2 more organizers to hear from, and then we'll end with a reflection together. So Rosa, since you are active, would love to turn it over to you and hear about your topic and a highlight from you on your end too, if you are able to unmute and speak up as well.
Hi everyone, it's so nice to be connected. I hope everyone is able to listen. I don't know if my connection is quite well.
You sound
yeah, that's good. Well, hello everyone from Cusco, very early here. I was very happy to hear actually Shannon speak, because actually what we did here, it's the same. It's the same topic. We have the topic about how, like, with the big question of it's possible to emerge from this pandemic in a more conscious and sustainable way. And we have a very diverse group. We have like what we wanted to do was focus like in 3 points of view, like from the environmental side, the economic side, and the social side. So we have like almost 1 hour, maybe a little more, of conversation and reflection around all of this with 3 generative questions. And as the group was quite diverse, because we have students, which I think was the most rich part of everything, because I was quite surprised how the students react. They have so many ideas and so much willing to do some change. And also we have people from companies, like from restaurants, that actually Cusco, it's a very touristic place. So after the pandemic, the touristic sector was quite affected. Like a lot of business, like were very affected from all of this. So we have a couple of people that have restaurants or these kind of things, and they share how they're trying to adapt to this situation. So after that, what we like, our focus was after this conversation, like create and like, yeah, create some or give solutions, but not solutions that are not depending from others, like solutions that are totally related with ourselves, like where I am totally responsible from that. And that's what also we're doing this actions, like concrete actions that I can make, so I can do a change, you know. And was was very nice because everyone has to do three actions that they can compromise to do. Like they were like very diverse, because you can have like actions from, I will stop using plastic for this month, and another is like, yeah, I will compromise to buy all my groceries from local supplies, like these kind of things, you know, very like very basic, like, because we have also this conversation, and it's like, yeah, we cannot wait change if we don't do it first. And so what we are going to do after this is we're doing like this experiment. uh, it's quite similar what Sharon is doing, and I think we can connect on that maybe. And union forces, we will do a 4 weeks experiment where everyone is compromising to take 3 action per week to do to compromise to do, and then sharing. We have a WhatsApp group for this moment, so we can share all the steps, all the difficulties also that we can have and all that. And the next week you choose another 3 actions that from the list that we have, because we have a list of all the actions that we proposed. And so after 4 weeks you been exploring different actions that you can keep changing. And also we'll have every week we will have like a talk from someone that we will invite to talk about these topics, like that are very related to our day by day. So yeah.
I love, sorry, I'm only interrupting for the sake of time, Rosa, but so great to hear also that in 2 different parts of the world, you know, similar ideas are coming out. And I just love how concrete it is. The solution that you all came up with of 3 actions a week, and this WhatsApp group to hold each other accountable and encourage each other. It definitely, I hope Shannon and Rosa, you connect, and anyone else. But yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love that we combine it, and so we can actually bring it together. We were already coming up with some ideas on the campaign side and on the platform, but it seems that you've already done some of the groundwork also. So we combine the ideas together, we can maybe really do something amazing.
Yeah. Actually, we also are like, all this is part of a campaign that we want to build, because, well, this is the 3rd today where I'm part of, and it's the first, like, it's the second one in Cusco. The first one was when I was in Germany, actually, with the school, and this is the second one in Cusco. The last one was totally different because everyone was in person. We can touch each other, we can hack, it was very different. And for me, actually, it was very challenging to do this format. And step by step, I'm getting more into technology, like this kind of technology and connection, which has a lot of advantage also. But what I want to say is, like, we also, all this is part of a campaign, like that calls.
Just to interrupt, I'm sorry. We still have Chris to hear from as an organizer, and I know Saba rejoined. So just wrap up any final thing that you'd like to share. I hate to interrupt.
Yeah, well, what I wanted to say is about the campaign, because Shannon told me something. Like, we also, this is part of a campaign that calls Yo Hago Cusco, and it's to try to involve more people, like local persons, to have this behavior change through daily actions, like concrete actions. yeah, that's all.
Awesome. Oh yes, please share. And Rosa, if you're open to posting in the Do community, please share. Because I know it sounds like that is something that can expand far beyond Cusco. And yeah, would love for everyone on this call who resonates with that to join. And obviously, please, as you're doing in the chat, please connect with each other and see where there might be resonance too. Then I know Saba, welcome back. Thank you. I know you mentioned the last point that you wanted to make, so we can come back to you if we have time too. But Chris would actually love to invite you as our final organizer on this call to share what the topic was with your due day. I heard really good things about the community that you brought together, and just an idea or highlight that you want to share as well.
Sure. So this was my second time organizing a due day, and I do mine a little differently, I guess, than most others because I use it for one of my classes. I teach in a social enterprise program here in Bangkok, and so what I do is I break up the class into teams, and the students all teach different portions of the program. They market it, they prepare, and then they deliver everything, and they also are participants. So they're going back and forth between leading the program and taking part.
And Chris, I think the connection got a little shaky. Again, we'll pause and breathe for a moment. It's a reality of being global citizens. All right, shall we retry, Chris? Can you try again now?
Oops, sorry, I think I walked out of range of my Wi-Fi. Sorry about that. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
So anyways, we sorted the ideas. Everyone opted into the idea that they wanted to work on in the day, and then we followed the program, the rest of the program from there. We had some really interesting ideas, but really probably the most beneficial thing for me is that we had a room full of students, fourth year undergraduate students, who weren't that excited about the program because everything's planned for them. They thought, oh well, it's just to go through the motions, and at the end of the day, they're like, wow, I learned a lot. I am much more confident now about leading these sorts of things. And these are really purpose-led students. So now they're like, I can go and do this myself. So there were some really neat ideas that people could follow up on. But the thing for me is that I've got about 18 students that are now like, okay, now I'm going to do this myself. So really exciting.
Oh, that's awesome, Chris. Thank you so much. I love it. Thank you also for being an example of the multiplier effect of Due Day. And I just love how meta that is, that you are supporting these young entrepreneurs to actually create action and know that they can initiate this. So super exciting.
Thanks for the chance.
Thank you so much, Chris. And thank you also, Chris is one of our We Emerge Solution finalists. So you might have seen him in that context as well. I know, yeah, there are just multiple superstars on this call. And I know some of you we haven't even heard from, but you have multiple connections to putting your purpose into action. So we are in the last few minutes of our time all together. So in honor of harvesting everything that we just got to hear from each of our Due Day organizers, I am posting a link in the chat and would love for you to write down a word or a couple words. What is one thing that you will take with you from today? So, and specifically from Due Day. So whether you were an organizer and there's something that is going to stick with you that you will take forward, that you will remember, whether you join the call because you resonate with some of these ideas or you were a participant in Due Day, what is one thing that you'll take out of this Due Day conversation and experience? And if you're able to access that link, you can write it in Mentimeter. I'm going to briefly share my screen so that we can see that popping up live. And in the meanwhile, if you are not able to access that Mentimeter, of course, write in the chat, and we can add that on there. But I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I love this moment. It's exciting to see what's coming up. So you can see. Let's see what emerges. as themes. Wow, energy, awesome, great energy, and hopefully energy to continue the action community. Really nice to see. I see that too, due day community, awesome. I want to call out to some, you are never too small. What a beautiful thing to take away from this experience. Collaboration seems like a big thing, collaborative action, connection, collaboration, global action, integrity, wonderful, believing, absolutely, tolerance. My gosh, wonderful, thank you. Please keep them, if you haven't added yet or you want to add something else, please keep it coming. We'll share this, so we'll send a follow-up message and we'll share this so that you all can keep it with you to keep the energy going. Really awesome. So I think on a final note, Saba, I know I did my best to capture that last point that you made. So I hope I captured it well. Thank you. And on a last note, I'm gonna
maybe actually I want to say a last note, Eva,
absolutely
because you thanked everyone. But I also want to give a big thank you and a big shout out to you, because I think you've been super active in making sure all of the organizers have what they need, and you were always there when someone needed to know about any question, and you're also just the heart of the Do community. So thank you so much for making this possible.
Ooh, I think I'm not as good as receiving beautiful compliments as offering them. I'm getting blushed. Thank you, Julia, so much. Thank you. Yeah, boy, Simone, I echo that. Thank you so much. Wow, I'm so inspired by each of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Shilpa. Thank you, Antique Mercedes. Yeah, such a treat to be with you all. I'm going to post one more link. So, pardon, you'll hear my keys clicking in the background. If you are not already part of the Do community, which we've mentioned quite a lot, you are warmly welcome. Here is where you can join, but there, Shannon, you mentioned that you'll share how people can learn more about your due date project and get involved. Rosa, definitely sounds like synergy there. I know each of you, if there are opportunities for people to contribute to what you have started, to what you are building, please share there and let us know however we can support from the Do School. And with a lot of love and gratitude, let's do a closing celebration. So if you have the ability on Zoom, whatever emoji you want to share, I know our emotions are limited to 6 options. But yeah, thank you so much, and really appreciate you. Thank you for taking action on what you believe in most, and super grateful to be part of it.